And well, this looks a bit familiar. It's called replaceMiddle. Let's see what it's asking us. So we define the middle of the array to be as follows. Okay, so this is looking exactly the same as the previous problem we just did. Basically, if if you're watching the VOD on YouTube or something like that, the middle of the array, if it's an odd number of elements, the middle is the sum of these two. If it's an even number, it's just the one in the middle. Okay, so if there is no exact middle, just add the two that are closest. Okay, so given array R, your task is to find its middle, and if it consists of two elements, replace those elements with the value of middle. Return the resulting array as the answer. Okay, that's kind of neat. So let's do... Ooh, okay, I have an idea, but I don't know if it's going to work. So let's do this. First of all, const length is array.length. Yeah, okay. So if length mod 2, that means there's an odd number of elements, return array. I mean, it's simple as that, right? If there's an odd number of elements, then we don't need to do anything. So that's 4 out of 9 tests done. We don't need to do anything more than that. Okay, so... That was easy. Right? But we can continue here. Let's move on. So we want to consider the case, well, actually, if we get to this point, because this is a return, right? So if we're able to move past this, that must mean this did not get returned, which means we're definitely dealing with something that has an even number of elements. Okay, so what can we do about that? Basically, we want to take out the two middle ones, and we want to replace it with the sum of those two middle ones. So part of me feels like we could use something like splice for this. The only issue I have with it is the following. So we could say let middle, or const, right? Because we're not going to be reassigning it. So const middle is going to be assigned the value of array at length divided by 2 plus array at length divided by 2 minus 1. I'm just using that from the last task we just did. As I recall, that's how we found it. So yeah, 7 in this case. It seems to be working. What we want to do is something like this. Array.splice. Now remember, splice, the arguments are going to be a little bit different. So we basically want to tell it, first of all, first we want to tell it the index where we want to start. So that's going to be length divided by 2. Then we want to tell it how many elements do you want to remove. So that's going to be 2. And then we want to tell it what we want it to replace that element or those elements with, which is going to be middle. And keep in mind, we don't want to return what we get from array.splice because that's going to be the actual 2 middle elements that it takes out. So what we want to return is just the array after the splice happens to it. So again, that's a mutating method. Keep that in mind. Whoops. That wasn't right. What happened? Why is that a 2? I thought middle would be... What is middle? Console.log middle. It's 7. Okay, wait a minute. Am I doing something wrong here? So array.splice. Let's just return what this is getting. Because maybe I'm instantiating that or like beginning it at the wrong spot. I am. I'm starting at the 3. Oh, my mistake. -1. Okay, let's try that. And we don't want to return this thing. We just want it to actually mutate the array and then, okay, cool. That's better. Great. Nice investigative work there. So it's kind of an awkward looking algorithm. Like it looks a bit weird that we're doing this like variable assignment declaration and all that. And then we're doing this thing and then we're assigning more variables and we're doing this weird mutating method and then we're returning this thing. So if you're wondering about that, I put this here because I don't want to do anything else if it turns out that the length is odd. Because as soon as we know the length is odd, we can just return the array. We shouldn't waste a single more millisecond on computing anything else, right? So and then although, okay, this is a good point. I think, and I could be wrong about this, but I think this is just going to get hoisted up anyway. So it probably doesn't actually make a difference if we were to put it up there. Then again, now that I think about it, it might make a difference. I'm not sure. I just kind of feel like if it's an odd length, then if we ask it to do this, won't that have issues, you know? Or maybe it would just become undefined or something like that. I don't know if it would be an error if we tried to ask for, hey, let's try it. We have the tools after all, right? So let's try array at 3 divided by 2. What's it going to tell us? Is it going to say, okay, just null? It's not giving us any issues with that. If we tried to add that to, let's say, array at 5 over 4, is it also going to have, no, okay, so it's still just null. So yeah, it's fine if we want to put this up here. That's not going to be a problem. Because I think it's just going to get hoisted up there anyway, so who cares? Okay, cool. And then we're doing this splice thing. Now, maybe there's a different way we could do that. I don't know. I think this is probably fine, but one thing I'm wondering is for splice, if maybe there's a way this could depend on the rest of this. I'm not actually sure about this myself, but I just have kind of a suspicion that splice might allow us to insert something that's based on what we just took out. I'm not sure. Let's find out. So JS splice, let's just search that. Yeah, okay. So good old W3 schools here. Actually, I'd probably be better off just looking at the docs here. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, my question is, can this depend on these over here? Start, delete, count, and then just items. Yeah, if you don't specify any, it'll just remove. Could it get those items somehow? I'm wondering, like, no, I don't think so, because what it takes out here, we'd have to like assign that to a variable and then like put it back in here. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So, well, okay. Have we checked if this passes the hidden test? Yeah, okay, it does. All right. Yeah. Maybe we'll just finish this one here. It seems kind of strange that it was in this order, considering that like the last one also had to do with middle. But this one's a little simpler, I would say. So, or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, this. Okay, here. Just for the sake of having a bit of diversity in here, let's do it a different way. Yeah, let's do it a different way. So length, that's going to be the same, no difference there. Let's use slices for this one. How does that sound? Yeah, slices. Okay, so we'll say, geez. It feels like it's just going to be very similar to this one, but we'll do it with slice. I'll just paste that in for now. Okay, so we got middle is this thing. We could probably do this a bit differently. Like we could say array.slice, going from this to actually going from this -1 to this +1, I guess. Is that, yeah, does that make sense? Return middle. No, it has an issue with that. Or wait, I have an issue with that. Sorry. Okay, so 2, 5, what's it gonna give us for something like this? -5, -5. Okay, so this is going to be kind of weird if it is an odd numbers situation, but we don't have to worry about that because we're not going to be using middle if that's the case. And then we want the sum of these numbers, so there's a very simple way we could do that. But hey, we haven't done a reduce in a really long time, so let's just do a reduce a plus b. Cool. So now the middle should be 7. Cool. All right, we don't need to return the middle anymore. We've got it. Isn't that so much nicer? Isn't that nice? This nice long line, isn't that so much easier than what we're doing down here? Oh, so refreshing. Okay, good stuff. And so then what we want to return, and we won't need to do anything like that at this point. We'll just return a.slice, or array.slice. First of all, from 0 to, yeah. Okay, so from 0 to length divided by 2 -1 plus 1 divided by 2 minus, no, just length divided by 2, I think. Is it? Or would it be length minus 1 divided by... No. This is even, right? So, yeah, just length divided by 2. And the reason it's this is because... Okay, hold on a sec before we go any further. So this over here is going to be, let's say we're talking about this array, length 6, right? So length divided by 2 is going to be 3. So that's going to give us this one here. But keep in mind, the way slice works is we basically indicate the start and the stop index. And more accurately, it's the start index, it will include. The end index, it will not include. So basically what I've specified over here is just these 3 over here. But now that I think about it, that's not what we want. We don't want to include the 2. We just want the 7. Sorry, we don't want to include the second 2. We just want the 7 and the 2 there. Okay. Array.slice. So Rainbow asks, won't array.slice return the removed? The thing is, like, yeah, in a sense, but yeah, splice would return the removed part. But we want to use slice for this one, right? So for splice down here, that's what it would have done. But yeah, for slice, in a sense, it does return the remove, but that's all we want, right? Slice is not, it's not changing the original array, you know? It's like we're just taking out that slice of it. You know, it's like taking, like zooming in on a part of a picture kind of thing. Anyway, so we've got this, and then we also want to have the end part of this, right? So this is the start part, so to speak, okay? And then the end part is going to be array.slice, and then we'll have just from length divided by 2 plus 1 onward. Okay, so length divided by 2 would be 3. That would be this index here. We want 4 onward. Okay, so we don't need to specify anything as a second argument here. It's implied that if we don't have one, it'll go to the end of the array. So let's see what we get from this. It should be returning, yeah, the 2 parts there. So we get the first part, we get the end part. Almost forgot we need to put the middle in there. Okay, now you might be noticing there's something a bit fishy about this, something a bit very wrong about this. And it's the fact that we've got an array within an array. Actually, 2 arrays within an array. We don't want that. We want the actual elements of each of these sub-arrays. So we're going to spread them out. And that should give us, yeah, exactly what we're looking for. Okay, nice. Very good stuff. So let's, oh, you know what? Oh, I have an idea. No, I don't. I was just going to say, maybe there is a way we could do it that would make this less like conditional, so we wouldn't have to put any ifs or something like that. And the way I was going to say it is we could sort of count from the left to get this middle part, count from the right to get this middle part. And then like in this case, they would just be the same as each other, right? So I was going to say, if we do it that way, then we'll just add them up in this case and then replace it with that. And then in this case, we'll just add up the middle element and replace it with that. But then I realized, well, that's going to give us double that middle element. So yeah, no, we won't do it that way. ATDS, how would you have handled those sorts of problems pre-spread operator? That's a good question. I would have done this. So I would have said array.slice.concat middle .concat the rest of it. Now the part of this I'm not too sure about because I don't tend to use concat because we do have the spread operator now. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. The thing I was unsure about is whether or not this needed to be an array. But yeah, it can be either, it looks like. So that's how I would have handled that. Okay, let's go back to spread operator. Oh, whoops, too far. My mistake. We'll submit that. And we'll be done with this one, I think. Yeah. Good job. You did it.